Every year, thousands of people move to Lubbock, Texas for its affordability, family-friendly vibes, and the amazing opportunities that the city has. However, what if I told you there's a big mistake that a lot of people make? Although it's easily avoidable, I still see it time and time again. So today in this video, I wanted to talk about the single biggest mistake that I see, along with a few other mistakes that you can avoid when moving to Lubbock, Texas. And stick around till the end because I'm gonna be talking about the #1 biggest mistake that I see people make when moving here to Lubbock. Hey, I'm Sam Riddle, a Lubbock local expert, and I help people just like you make their move to Lubbock, Texas, and I absolutely love it. I love talking with you about what areas of town would be best for you and your family and understanding Lubbock's lifestyle. So if you're planning on moving here, don't hesitate to reach out. My number is below, and let's get started. Now let's start off with number 5, and that is renting for too long. A lot of people think that their safest bet moving to Lubbock is getting into a 12-month lease. And honestly, if your long-term goal is to buy in Lubbock, 12-month lease is just too long. You could end up with a crappy landlord. You could end up with on a bad side of town that you don't want to be in, that doesn't fit your lifestyle. You could end up in not the right school district that you don't want to be in, and so instead of having those things against you, let's have that conversation up front. Let's consider a shorter lease term. Let's find one that's maybe 3 to 6 month lease options. I partner with some amazing companies here in town that we can help you get into those shorter lease options, and you're not having to worry about crappy landlords or just being able to find a house because it's in your budget, right? So let's talk about that. With the shorter lease term, we're able to explore Lubbock, we're able to dive deeper into these communities, and we're really able to hone in and figure out what areas would be best for you versus sitting in a 12-month lease option and then looking up in a year and having your first year in Lubbock just might not be the best experience. Now let's talk about number 4, and this one could cost you in the long run, and that is buying a brand new construction house in a brand new neighborhood. These shiny homes and these affordable prices look very tempting, and trust me, these homes are awesome for affordability and move-in ready homes. However, if we don't know the long-term plan for you to be in Lubbock and you know for a minimum you'll be here 3 years, then maybe you might be moving somewhere else. Well, let's have that conversation because buying in a brand new development might end up costing you thousands of dollars whenever you go to sell in the next 3 years. Let's talk about what communities would be best for you depending on what your long-term goal is. Because if you're trying to sell in 3 years, we're now competing against the same builder with the same exact floor plan that they're building. However, ours has been lived in for 3 years, and now they're selling it for the same price we would sell our home for, right? And so it's very hard for buyers to come in and look at a used home versus a brand new construction home for the same price. And honestly, we are seeing a lot of that in today's market. And so we need to be creative and see, hey, what options are going to be best for you and your family, and what incentives can we get from either builders or from sellers right now that would make the most sense for you. However, on the flip side, if you do plan on staying in Lubbock for a minimum of 7 years, 5 to 7 years, and you love that house and you want to be in a brand new community, then heck yeah, let's do it because that's awesome for you. That's where you're going to see the equity being built in your home if you're looking at the long-term plan. So let's have that conversation and see what areas might be better for you and your family. So this next one drives me a little crazy, being a realtor, of course, and that is going into the builder's office without having representation of your own. The builder has representation. They have their sales reps, they are going to ensure that they put their best foot forward. They're going to show you the beautiful, pretty model home. They're going to talk to you about their best interests at heart, not always yours. So just keep that in the back of your mind. They are going to ensure that they protect themselves and sell their best home. Whereas us as realtors, we're going to be able to have that conversation with you. What are your wants and needs? Is this the best builder for you? Or do we have to go somewhere else and find somebody that would be more of a match, right? And so we just are that person that we can talk to. We can talk through some things. We can talk about those hard conversations, the pros and the cons that maybe you're not going to be able to have that personal relationship with when you're directly going to the builder, right? And so also realtors, we know a lot. We know a lot about a lot of different builders in town. And so we can tell you some things that you may not know from a local standpoint that you're gonna wanna know before buying one of your biggest assets that you've ever purchased, right? So you're gonna wanna have that confidence that you are buying a quality product. We help ensure that there's inspections lined out, that you're getting a good quality product for the money that you pay for it. I mean, that's, at the end of the day, we don't want your house to fall down. We want to ensure that everything is going smoothly and on a good time frame. Now, one of the bigger mistakes I see people make is not paying attention to school districts. And that's not to say that even if you have kids or if you don't have kids that you shouldn't care about school districts, because that couldn't be further from the truth. This directly affects your property value. This directly affects your property's taxes at the end of the year. And so that plays a huge part of how much you're going to pay. And then also too, when you go to sell, that's going to also directly affect the desirability of your house. And so if going back to your time frame and how long you want to be in Lubbock, let's think about what school districts would be best for you from an appreciation standpoint, from, hey, maybe taxes at the end of the day is the most important thing to you. Well, then we might not want to look at the most expensive school districts here in Lubbock, right? So we need to make sure that the school district is closely looked at, even if you don't have kids. And if you do have kids and you are planning on putting them in school, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the research going into the school districts here, because let's face it, a lot of the reason why families like to move here is because of our school districts. And so just understanding what school district would be best for you and your kid, if it's directly in Lubbock or if it's a smaller school on the outskirts or the suburbs around Lubbock, that's a conversation that we can have, that we definitely need to talk about before you purchase your home here in Lubbock. So the number one mistake that I see people make is chasing the cheapest house. Now, we all know one of the reasons why you're probably looking at Lubbock is because of the affordability. We know we have great home prices. However, just because the home price is at $200,000 doesn't mean that it's in the best part of town. But it also doesn't mean that it's in the worst part of town either. There's some amazing homes at $200,000, but there's also some amazing homes at $200,000, maybe not in a great part of town that for you and your family. So knowing the area that the house is in is so crucial, not just the price point. I always tell clients, go drive around in the morning, in the evening, on the weekends, and really get a feel and understanding of the different parts of town. We want to be in South Lubbock, where all the brand new construction is, all the new loop. Do we want to be in that part of town? Do we want to be on the west side of town, where you have some established neighborhoods? You still also have some existing neighborhoods. We have some new construction. Then we have the north side of town, which we have great established and new construction neighborhoods. We just might not have all the new amenities that you might be looking for. And then Central Lubbock is going to be all of your established homes. Most of them are going to be established in established neighborhoods, in lower taxes. And so where do we want to fit in? Where do we want to be? We have, I had a client, we looked at North Lubbock homes, we looked at South Lubbock homes, we looked at West Lubbock homes, all new construction, but it's going to be depending on you what neighborhood and what area of town is going to be best for you, right? I can't choose that for you. I can talk to you, we can talk about that, what's important to you, but ultimately driving around and figuring out that location is so crucial, because you're not going to want to be stuck in a house where you hate the neighborhood because now you have to drive 20 minutes to the grocery store or to your kid's soccer game or your kid's football game because it's across town, right? So just making sure we know where we want to be and talking through that is so important, not just the prices, location. I love to bring people here and let's say we have a budget. Let's look in north, let's look in west, let's look in south. Let's drive around Lubbock. Let's see the different areas of town. You go eat, go have some lunch. I'll give you a few locations to go and try. I'll give you a few dinner spots and recommendations. I'll give you a few hotel recommendations, right? So that way you really get to experience Lubbock and all of the different parts in parts of town that they all offer something different, right? So, and offer different school districts is going to be also a key. So let's just think a little bit more in depth of where we want to be, what price range you want to be in, and really dive into everything that's available right now here in Lubbock. So if you're planning on moving to Lubbock, don't make these mistakes. I help people every single week discuss what areas are going to be best for them, discuss the budget, discuss the lifestyle that they're looking for here in Lubbock, Texas. And I love that more than anything. It's so fun to talk about, learn about you and your family and how we can fit in to the already existing community that's here. Now that we know our biggest mistakes, now let's talk about these homes to never buy if you're moving to Lubbock, Texas. I'm gonna put this video right here. And until next time, I'll see you around.